rise. And now to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
I can't really fake it anymore, guys. I just can't fake it anymore.
Someone
But
happy.
It's a happy Devils Sunday. At least they score 2 goals. Is that pathetic?
You're stealing my thunder.
Is that pathetic, guys?
Those
Yeah.
were my,
A little bit.
those were
Yeah.
gonna be my highlights.
Yeah. Well, this is the Let's Go. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 2, episode 12. We've got Dancing Earl to cheer us up. Hashtag cheer us up. Or no, hashtag cheer you up, because we need a little bit of cheering up right now. I am with Beer Baron and our E-Bub, our emergency backup broadcaster, Scotty.
That's right.
From SiriusXM Liquid Metal, filling in for Short Sky. He is on assignment somewhere in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I think he's attending to some Red Bull event of some sort. But
lovely weather this year down there in Atlanta. Lovely weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just want to welcome everybody in the Facebook Live at Let's Go Devils Podcast, on our Twitter and Periscope at Let's Go Devils Pod, our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. You can find us there. Durango Steve signed up to Twitch. He thought it was called something else. Signed up to another site. No, I said no, it's Twitch. Not Stitch or Snitch or Witch. But he signed up to
1-800 Snitch.
Yeah. So now we have 3 followers on Twitch. Still don't get it. It's some kind of gaming site. One of these days, we're going to have to play NHL 94 just to make us relevant on that site.
After Christmas, I think we're going to make this happen.
And if you're in the car right now, you could hear us live on letsgodevils.com, live audio streaming, and you can also check us out on iTunes after the show, Spotify, iHeart app, and we're going to come up with our mobile app very soon. So that's where you can find us. But yeah, Devils lost 5-2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to turn over the podcast to you guys, Scotty and Beer Baron. We're going to work some magic behind the scenes here. Try to get Dancing Earl. Cheer us up.
Nice.
You could take it off. You could start off with this one tonight, dude. Because I'm not gonna lie. I had things to do, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna miss the first. No, I'm serious. I'm gonna miss like the first like 4 minutes or something like that of the game. And I walk in the room, turn on the games, 10:30 into the game, and they're already down 3-0. And I looked at the sky and I was like, this is really, I can't even sit down and enjoy this one.
Why don't we tell everyone you have a bellyache? You're a little cranky today. You're a little hungover, right? We drank the beer baron had too much tonight last night. That's okay. It happens to the best of us. It's all right.
Was partaking in the Black Beer Friday on a Saturday.
Very nice. Very nice. On Saturday. Well, what I would like to start out with is saying, thank you for having me back again. I enjoy doing this so much last time that I was ready and excited to come back again. And I want to say hello out there to everyone on, Facebook or IG or Twitter, whatever, YouTube. Happy Thanksgiving. I just want to say Twitch, for our Twitch follower. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I hope they had a great holiday with family and friends. And thank you for being a fan of the New Jersey Devils. Very thankful of that. Be positive when you're at games, and cheer loud for our team. And now that I'm out here in Los Angeles on the West Coast, I don't get to go there and see our boys play live. So I'm a little jealous watching on the NHL app all the time. But be positive at games, cheer real loud for our boys, and don't forget that we're responsible for ushering a new generation of Devils fans, into the 4A, because we got a nice young marketable team with TH9 and Nico and Palmieri and Butcher out back there, all young guys right there, So I mean, we got a really good thing going. So don't forget about that out there. Devils
what's
fans.
funny?
I hear you got maybe two little young Devils fans there in the making around the house.
Well, I'm gonna bring my older one to our first game soon. But
very nice.
It's funny. You're saying stay positive about this team, and games like this is really hard to stay positive. And I know everybody's kind of melting down. If you if you go onto Twitter, if you go onto any of these platforms, especially Twitter, everybody's at the end of the world. And the world, Cory needs to go. He's terrible.
Listen,
it was rough. He was rough tonight. There's no way around it. Sammy Vatanen scored on his own goalie, for crying out loud.
Yeah, so, they hung him out to dry a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those nights where it's just like nothing at all goes right. And it just seems like the wheels fell off early, and there's no way that they were going to be able to right the ship. Even when they brought it to 3-1, when Nason scored that goal, and they're like the few highlights that were good about this game, Nason scoring, don't forget, Jasper Bratt scoring, but there's too many negatives. Taylor Hall getting.
I honestly didn't see the very end of the game. So did Jasper Bratt? He scored in the third.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good sign. At least they, I don't know. This was just a bad game all around. Like Tampa Bay outclassed us, just like they did in the playoffs last year. We looked
just like they did
not ready. Yeah. Well, like Tampa Bay. I mean, they're really good. They're a really good team. But we, that first period was rough. And I agree with you. Cory. I mean, he is most definitely lost a step. Like it's just one of the cruel, sort of facts, like he's had the surgeries, he's had the injuries, he's getting up there in age, I don't know what it is, but it does seem like every time he's in net that the boys are out of the game pretty early. I don't know why that is. Because they did hang him out to dry a couple times, there were some goals there where I'm trying to think of who scored that one power play goal, and Lovejoy and Green looked like they were just standing around and walked straight into the net. It was in the first period. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was Kucherov. You're right.
Tampa Bay is one of the deepest teams in the East, and one of the deepest teams in the entire league. When you have your power play unit consists of Kucherov and Stamkos, and you just roll out deep line after deep line of people that can score on every different level. Then you have an experience and good back end on your defense, and even this backup goaltender that's going to be in for the next 2 weeks because of their starting goalie breaking his foot. I mean, he's still serviceable. It's kind of like a Kincaid, you know what I mean? But I mean, like overall, the team, the Devils, like their identity is super confusing this year. There's consistent games, and then there's games where they can't get out of their own way. If you look at the last game, they are young, but there's there's also just just like weird plays, weird things that happen on the ice, and you sit back and you wonder, like, is Hines still getting to them? Is he? First of all, before I need to preface this, I'm a huge Hines fan, and I hope he doesn't get fired. I'm not saying
I don't think he's getting.
I don't think he's getting.
I don't even. Yeah, no.
There's these games like the beginning of last game. They couldn't connect on pucks. They were turning it over like nonstop. Kincaid was bailing him out early, and if Schneider, you put him in goal tonight, and they're making these dumb mistakes, and Schneider he's not playing enough to be able to get the reps to be able to make these saves. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. Cory, like I said, Cory's coming off this injury. He's, it looks like he's lost a step. Like he looks slower to me, and if I don't got, Cangelosi and Danico pointing it out to me, I'm recognizing it just myself. I'm like, woo, because honestly, man, when the Devils were on their West Coast trip last year, Cory was in net when I drove up to San Jose to see them, and it just they got blown out of the water. I know it was the end of a West Coast trip last year, but like you could just see it. Like he looked slower, and like
and a lot of people,
I don't know what else to say, but like I'm prepared for like seeing more of the young kids. I'm all about it. Like I want to see what Mackenzie Blackwood and if Eddie Lack has something like that, like I want to, I'd rather like go that route almost, just because I don't know. It's a tough call. How long? I don't even know much longer is his contract.
You got another 3 years, I believe, at 6.5. So that's a little hard to swallow. So I mean, you look at it like this. You could put him. You could send him down, and I'd have to look at like the conditions of his contract, because I don't know if you can send him back and forth. If you can send him down, you can't send him on like a conditioning assignment, because I think you already did that, and there has to be a certain amount of time that passes by, or there's like loopholes or whatever. But he needs to be sent down to Binghamton, and he needs to be able to start consecutive games for a while to get a rhythm, to get it like whatever. Either that or concede the fact that he is now the backup. But the thing that sucks is it seems like every time he comes to the net, we're going to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't play the same in front of him. Like we were talking about this last week, where we were talking about does a team have more confidence in front of Keith? Do they play looser in front of Keith? Do they feel like they're playing tighter in front of Cory? That's causing these mental lapses or these breakdowns. But I don't know. It was rough. Yeah, today was rough, and it was like not the start that you wanted to have, especially for Cory. And you feel bad for the dude.
I do, yeah, because he's. I mean, it's not like he's not trying. It's not like he's not hustling. It's not like he's not practicing and giving his all. He totally is. It's just like I said. I think it's just some injuries have caught up to him, and he's a little bit older in age now, and just sometimes the body doesn't react the way it used to, like it happens to the best of us, except Tom Brady for some reason.
Hey, well, he's got his
and Yager
method, and Yager could probably.
Well, you know what, Scott? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, besides this game, because I'm almost looking at this game as a wash. Like even though Tampa Bay,
can't keep doing that. We can't keep saying.
Well, I know, but
that game's a wash.
But for our purposes, okay, right here on the old podcast, I'm just looking back at the entire week. And besides this game, the entire week, listen, we had some tough losses, the OT loss and everything like that. But Pavel Zacha scoring some goals. Nice to see. He's creating offense. We all know that the defense is there, and it's always been there. But now it looks like he's finally starting to shoot the puck. It looks like he's creating.
I have to address something because it's funny.
Go ahead.
George in the Facebook group said his contract is not a backup contract. We're well aware of that.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
That's like that dude that plays Chase Daniels that plays for for Chicago. He makes like $7 million as a backup quarterback. Dude's got the
backup quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a
well. Anyway, Pavel Zacha making some offense, very nice. You know, it's good to see. And even though he didn't score these last two games, besides this game that everyone was just terrible. Actually, I didn't see who was on the assist or anything with the Brat goal. Maybe he was, because I know he's centering that line, but he's producing some points. He doesn't have to score a goal every night, but as long as he's going to be a plus player and someone who's like maybe chipping in with assists, that was really great to see. Brian Boyle scoring on, Hockey Fights Cancer Night. That was really awesome to see once again. Brian Boyle's just got that knack of coming through in those moments, like he is just made for that big stage, I feel like. And that was really awesome to see, even though, again, tough game in the end, but, that was like a good battle. Marjo, also, Johansson looks like he's finally starting to like Marjo. Yeah, he's getting his. I feel like he's starting to create. He's starting to shoot the puck a little bit more, which is what he needs to do. Like he wants to pass. He needs to start shooting as well. He's got a nasty wrist shot from just outside the circle there. Like he needs to start doing that more to create more. I feel like when the season started, I didn't think it would take him that long to get his sort of his groove back. But I feel like with his injury from last year, I feel like he might be like one of those people who are one of those players that, it takes like around half a season. They finally start going at full speed. They're not like, because you don't know. We don't know. Like he could be out there and he sees some guy out of the corner of his eye coming to nail him. And he just might be thinking a split second twice now that he's had these concussion problems when before he wasn't doing it. That's a big thing to get over as well, that, I'm sure he's not going to go and talk into the press about and everything, but I got to think it's got to be lingering. When he's going into the boards, going into a battle in the corners, he knows he's going to get hit. Like, is he still like thinking twice about it? I think like as long as he continues this way, though, I think he's going to stop thinking twice and just start thinking the way he used to and get back into his natural flow of the game, like before he was, banged up in the head so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of George in the Facebook group brought up a great point. He said, but if the chemistry.
What's up, George? How you doing, buddy?
All these players, and if all these players played up to their potential, it's there. Okay, so there's a couple. First of all, Gary asked, what could we do with Schneider? You might be stuck. We might be stuck with him. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And I know you don't.
We got to hope that maybe there's someone who's looking for a veteran goalie. Like if he can string together like 4 or 5 good starts, we can. I think we would be able, like at the deadline, to get into someone like a contender for like a veteran backup.
For sure, yeah. If he could start to get his game straight, and then you get closer to the deadline, and if the Devils are severely out of it, you find a team that is desperate, that is clinging on to a playoff spot, that is desperate, that just lost their goaltender. I mean, these are all super hypotheticals,
or just an unproven goaltender, a young goaltender that may need like someone like mentorship or anything like that. Running into a playoff stretch. But the problem is Cory needs to put together like a string of good games, which I don't think has he won a game this year. I don't think he's won a game this year.
Like December last year. He hasn't won. He hasn't won in almost a full calendar year, and that's. I mean, whatever. That's neither here nor there. He lost a lot of that to injury and.
It's not a knock on his skill. Yeah.
My biggest thing about Cory is if you were to try to trade him right now, you would get nothing for him.
Exactly.
If you put him in a part of a package, maybe you could get something in return that would be worthwhile. But the problem is like if you try to just unload him because you think he needs to change his scenery. I was looking on Twitter the other day, and somebody's like, "Oh, just flip him for Jake Allen, the goaltender over in St. Louis, because he's another guy that has it." No, it's I know, but listen, Jake Allen has a ton of potential and is in the same kind of boat as Cory. Like, just feels like if he could have a change of scenery, that would be beneficial for him, and his game would improve again, and he would go back to playing the way he was. I feel like Cory, if Cory were traded out of New Jersey and he was sent somewhere else, I think he would be fine. And it would be one of those things where every Devil fan would do this. Trade him, trade him, trade him, trade him. Okay, he gets traded. Damn it, why did we have to trade him? The Devils are so stupid. I can't believe they traded him away. And, like, you know what I mean? That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to get traded away. He's going to get a fresh start.
I hope he does. I hope he does. Like, if he does get traded, I hope he does well. I don't wish the guy any sort of bad mojo or anything like that. But at the same time, I don't think that Cory Schneider is going to be our goalie for the future moving forward. Yeah. Like, we should be building forward, and goaltending is a huge position that needs to be taken care of. And love Cory. You know, he's done some good things. He's made some great saves, and he's played some awesome games. And, you know, he's had a bit of bad luck, you know, in his career, you know, at first, you know, being behind Luongo and, you know, coming here, and then, you know, the transition with Marty and everything like that. That was that was a delicate thing to have to go through.
Yeah, there's so much hate for Cory Schneider because of him taking over for Marty. And there's, you know, I know people personally that are like, it didn't matter what he did. You know what I mean? Like, he could have won a cup in a brew. It's not I don't know. Either way.
It's okay. We love Cory. We love Cory, and we thank him for everything he's done in goal for us.
We're gonna transition over to Mr. Samus. You're back, and do we have our special guest? We need some positive vibes in this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We need positive vibes on this Let's Go Devils podcast right now. Devils fans are sad. I'm hearing negative thoughts on Facebook and Twitter, and we got the right guy, the formula to change it up, to absolutely just change up the dynamics, because he's beloved at the Prudential Center. Do you know who I'm talking about, guys?
The one, the only.
The one and only, yes. Legendary.
Yes.
Legendary, as many would call it.
Legendary Dancing Earl. Earl, are you on the line right now?
Yes, I am.
All right. Woo!
Yeah.
Dancing Earl, it is an honor and privilege to have you on our podcast. I've seen you dancing at the Prudential Center pretty much, I think, when it first opened. Am I correct on that? When did you start dancing at Prudential Center?
Opened I'd say about 2 or 3 years in, I started dancing.
And now, how did that start?
Actually, it started with somebody else. Then they were just putting cameras on us, each different one of us, until the camera stayed on me, and it's stuck on me ever since.
Now, Earl, this is Scott. I have a quick question for you. What is it like to be you're like a celebrity in the Rock now? So when everybody, you know, whenever there's a Devils game, how does it feel to have all these fans coming up to you and just wanting to meet you and just wanting to talk to you?
You know, it to me, it's a wonderful thing. For one thing, I love doing what I'm doing. And one thing about it, I have a group of people that I work with. They're tremendous, and it's when it's easy to work with people and everything else like this. It's easy to get your job done, and I do it because I love it, not for anything else.
All right, hey Earl, this is Scotty. First off, I know there's Scott and there's Scotty. Just so we get that out of the way, so there's no confusion. So this is Scotty. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for everything you do. I'm bringing cheer to everyone down there at the Prudential Center. We really do appreciate that. I wanted to ask you, you know, I don't know this. I don't know if all the fans know this, but where are you from originally? Are you originally from Jersey?
I'm originally from New York. I was born in New York, but I lived in Jersey for about I came to Jersey '62, and I've been
in 60.
ever since.
Wow, that's so. What part of Jersey have you been in? In like the greater Newark area, or whereabouts?
I was raised in East Orange. Then after that, I came. Then I lived in Newark.
Oh, very nice. That's very cool. I grew up in Jersey. I think all of us here have grown up in Jersey and spent many times there. So you started. When did you start dancing?
I started. Actually, I started. Let me see. I've been there 11 years. Right now.
But when did you actually start dancing? Were you a kid? When did you like start actually like taking up, start doing some real dancing out there?
Oh man, oh shucks, about 7 years ago. About 7 years ago.
Wow.
I started. Yeah. It started 7 years ago.
It's pretty impressive. If you started 7 years ago, I could have started like 30 years ago, and I still wouldn't even have any near close to I have to tell you, Earl, it's so much fun to watch you dance. Like, everybody has such a positive experience when they meet you. Has anybody ever challenged you to like a dance off?
Yes, I have. Plenty of people have challenged me, and I tell them I leave the door open for anybody.
All right, laying down the gauntlet.
Do you have a specialty move, like a special dance move that you break out for those dance challenges?
No, most of the time I dance with the music. I mean,
dance with the music.
What I feel behind the music, that's the way I dance.
And what did you grow up listening to, music wise? What did you like to do?
Oh, I grew up liking the songs back in the '60s. The old songs. I'm a oldie.
Like some soul stuff, some Motown, or was it more rock and roll? Or?
Rock and roll, yes, yeah. I loved all that.
Nice.
No,
I'm sure there were a lot of good places to go dancing out there, and back in the old '60s and '70s and '80s and stuff. All the clubs down the shore and everything like that.
Oh yeah, well I used to be in the clubs dancing because I was a hustler, and I used to hustle, and I was in a hustle competitions and whatnot. So a lot of people always said that I was for a big man, I was light on my feet.
Now, Earl, growing up, did you play any sports, or did you play football, baseball, basketball, or anything like that?
Yes, I did. I played football, basketball, baseball. I was on the wrestling team, and I was on the weightlifting team.
Yeah, man. Well-rounded.
Yes.
Did you play any like collegiate sports or anything like that, or get any football or anything? Basketball?
I started to football. Football was my sport. I started until I snapped my Achilles tendon.
Oh, jeez.
And I did that when I was practicing for semi-pro team. So after that, that was it.
Oh,
wow.
Man. So Earl, when you're at the stadium, do you actually get a chance to like watch the game and enjoy the game, or is it just kind of like you just strictly business the whole game? Even when you're having fun and kind of doing a dance and everything like that, are you still able to enjoy the event?
Sure, I am. But I get to watch the games just a little bit at a time. But my thing is watching my fans, see that they're all right, because of where I stand at. They always want to see me there. Every time I come in, where's Earl? I'm always there, and I'm glad to be there. So everybody come to see me. So it makes things a lot better for me and the fans.
And it's true. You know, we can't tell you as fans how much we appreciate you and just everybody that works at the Rock. It's such an amazing building. Everybody's always so friendly. You know, it's funny. My mom and dad have season tickets, and my mom has befriended, oddly enough, one of the beer tenders. And you know, no, I'm being serious. And you know, they give each other holiday cards, and they, you know, they'll in between periods they go and catch up, and they share pictures of their grandchildren, and it's just the kind of environment that you have at the Rock. And it's one of the things that we as fans can't tell you how much we appreciate you and just everything that all the staff does at the Rock.
Like I said, I love where I work. I love what I do, and I love the people that I work with around me. They make it more pleasant to work there.
Hey, Earl, do you have a favorite food around the Rock? A favorite food stand that you like to go to, or anything like that around the Rock that you can recommend?
Not particularly, because I haven't eaten all the food, but they have some pretty good dishes there.
Oh yeah,
that's
yes, they do.
So Earl, are you there besides the hockey, besides the Devils games? Are you there ushering other game or other events as well?
Oh yes, I do all the concerts. I do the Seton Hall games. Yeah.
What is?
Go ahead.
What is your favorite show that you've seen come through the Rock in the time that you've been there?
I like Tina Turner. I like the Eagles, the old fashioned rock groups.
That's good.
I love, and the soul groups.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
Hey Earl, let me ask you, how did you get your position at the Rock?
I just found out that they were hiring, then I applied for it.
And that was it. It was just all a simple twist of fate, basically. And then you became an arena phenomenon.
Yes. I really don't know how that happened, but I'm happy for it.
Hey, did anyone approach you? You know, just being like, "Hey, I want you to do some more of that dancing tomorrow, and we're going to put all the cameras on you, and we're going to start showing you around the arena," or was it just you didn't even know it was happening at first?
No, I actually, like I said, they started putting the cameras on me. Then next thing you know, it just became a regular thing.
One of my favorite things, I gotta tell you, Earl, one of my favorite things when you start dancing, how the crowd just erupts and just how everybody just jumps up and gets excited. We could be losing a game, and then you bring such, we said this before, but you bring such a positive energy into the game. And I'll tell you what, right now, the way the team has been playing, we could really use some of that positive energy. So the next home game, we got to. I don't know. If I'm there, I'm going to challenge you to a dance off. We'll try to pump up the crowd like that.
Wow!
Terrible.
Yes, it's open.
I would love for that to be on the big screen and record it. This dance off, because I want to see Earl. I want to see Earl wipe the floor with the beer baron over here.
Yes. I would like. I like to bring the crowd up to a roar. I love it. I love to hear it.
That's got to be such an amazing feeling to, not be, even though you're not, on playing on the ice or, skating on the ice or anything like that, you have a full crowd of people behind you, like your every single move, man. That must be an amazing feeling, that response.
Yes, it is. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. And I wondered myself, how did I really get there? You know,
Uh-huh.
I amaze myself sometimes. You know,
We-
but I enjoy it. I very much enjoy what I do.
We have a fan, Joe, who said he wanted to thank you for shaking his date's hand. He brought her to her first double. Said that it really helped show her like how amazing this whole entire experience is. Because like we said before, it's not just about going to see the hockey game. It's about interacting with you. It's interacting with the rest of the staff, and just how nice and friendly everything is. I also want to ask you, what was your so far as in the Devils arena? What is your favorite Devils moment?
My favorite Devils moment was the year when we beat the Rangers for the playoffs.
That's the best. That's the best answer.
It's over.
I couldn't believe how the house erupted. Oh, it was so powerful, so amazing.
If only we could get back to that moment.
Excuse me?
Oh, I was saying, if only we can get back to that moment of just having, that entire building erupting during that moment was the loudest I've ever heard. We apologize for the technical difficulties.
Hey, now. We still have Earl?
I don't know. All right.
Well, if we don't have Earl,
well, we're back. We're back live. Sorry about that. There's sometimes this happens. This is what happens when you do a live podcast. You get those little bugs and glitches. No, I'm serious. Like if we pre-recorded, it would be like, "Hey, this is great and fantastic." But
it's all good. It happens. Don't worry. We're radio professionals. If Earl is not on the phone anymore, I just want to say that was a pleasure speaking with him. That was amazing, and he put a smile on my face just just reliving some of those stories. I was just thinking about it. Yeah, that's probably the loudest it's been at the Rock was probably that series against the Rangers, I would say.
Yeah, and you know what? I got to thank Earl too as well. Hopefully producer Sam can reach out to him and say, thank you from both of us for having him come and join us. I got to tell you, seriously, like one of the nicest dudes. I've met him a few times. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and just overall genuine. Do you know what I mean? Like you meet some people and they're just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, take your seat, go over there, go over here. Everybody at the Rocket always feels like it's a nice, genuine environment, especially Earl.
Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry for the technical difficulties. It was the infamous Windows 10 machine that decides to do an update in the middle of a live broadcast.
Oh yeah, what stinks is I'm sorry, Gary. I was just about to ask your question too. Which section? Maybe Sam, you know this. Which section does Earl stand at normally?
Definitely not in section 233. I have no idea. All right, let me try to get Earl back on. I feel bad.
All right.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I just want to point out this awesome hat that I'm wearing. This is from the Military Appreciation Night. And
very nice.
I got to tell you, dude, the Devils, they have stepped up their game with their hat giveaways. I have another one that I think it was last year or the year before. It's the red and green hat. Pretty legit.
Not bad. Looks pretty good. You look all hunter man there with your super beard,
dude, I tell you, this is my what is supposed to be this. I'm gonna grow out this beard for luck for the team, and I don't know if it's really working. But now I'm too lazy to shave it. So,
Well, maybe it's me because the last time I came on this podcast, they had a horrible Sunday game as well. So hopefully, hopefully I'm not jinxing them.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Could
Not
be.
This, not this
Could
year.
be.
I think tomorrow night. Let's shift gears and go into tomorrow night because I feel like tomorrow night they're going to be playing
Florida.
the old fancy cats down there. Yeah. So Keith Kincaid is going to get put back in net. This is what kind of befuddles me a little bit. Is why Hines went with Schneider against Tampa Bay and not against the Panthers. You would think the Panthers are not doing well. They're not doing well at all. They're one of the few teams that are below us. But you would have thought, put in Schneider against Florida, a lesser team that's struggling right now. Maybe we pick up a win. He starts building up his confidence. And if Kincaid gets beat by Tampa Bay, it's like whatever. He's already got a few wins under his belt. He's already got a few shutouts under his belt. The decision making for what goal you're going to start these two games.
Hi, Earl. Sorry about that. We had our computer crashed in the middle of the interview, so I'm going to put you in a brief holding and patch you in. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, behind the scenes
it's
stuff.
Great interview. We love you.
Behind the scenes stuff.
This is what it's like to work in radio, kids. All right, this is what it's like.
That's right. That's fun. If you ever wondered what it sounds like when producer Sam is talking to somebody on the phone.
Oh yeah. Yep, I screwed that one up. All right, let me try to pull up back Earl. He's been a great sport. I feel bad. Stupid Windows. Earl, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
all right.
Thank goodness. We got it back.
Yeah.
Earl, I wanted to say before we got cut off, I do want to see a dance off. What are you doing December 27th? Are you doing anything?
Dance off.
December 3rd. I'm going to be there December 3rd.
If you want me there, I'll be there.
Yeah. I suggest this is what I propose. I propose that Beer Baron and Dancing Earl go to a dance off at Tavern on the Rocks for our live event viewing party, which we are going to definitely promote. Would you come to our event, Earl? We will dine you. We will buy you drinks. All you have to do is go to the dance off with your Beer Baron.
Oh, Lord. Of course.
All right. Woo!
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to have to start stretching now because Lord knows if I try to do one move, I'm going to pull a hammy and be done for the season.
Oh, yeah.
So, Earl, we had a question from one of our fans. They were wondering, what section is do you have a permanent section or do you move from section to section?
No, I have a permanent section. My section is section 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Okay. All right. So I think it was Gary who was asking. So yeah, because there's a lot of people that they see you on a big screen, and then sometimes people get lost trying to find you throughout the stadium. So now that we know 2 and 3, just be prepared. You might now have a ton of people coming up to you and challenging you to these crazy dance offs.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm always fun.
So we were also thinking about this too, and I'm once again sorry that we got cut off before. With the Devils, kind of like this environment that they've created at the Rock, where it's a lot more family friendly. There was somebody that made a comment that it's a lot better than the Continental Airlines Arena used to be, where it was kind of like just a mausoleum, and if you did anything fun, you'd get yelled at. It's fun to see that you're a big part of this, and they're trying to add more of an excitement. NJ Devil being a big part of that too. What do you feel is the next step? Is there anything down the pipeline that you know of, or that you could give us an insight on that they might be trying to do at the Rock?
No, actually, the ownership is wonderful. They are wonderful, and they do what they have to do to make it a lovely place to come to be at.
Mhm.
You know, and it starts with them and the people that we work for. You know, if it wasn't for them, you know, we wouldn't
It's
have
true.
we have the good people that we do have there now.
That's true.
It's
Now,
very true.
have you met any of the players?
No, not really, not right offhand. No, I haven't.
So we got to make that happen.
Have you ever met old Danico or Chico?
Oh, Chico and Danico, I
Oh
run
boy.
into them, and then we do say hello to each other.
Yeah,
that's
is
great.
Chico eating those hot dogs? He loves those hot dogs.
Well, last time I seen him, he was in the broadcast booth,
Mm-hmm.
broadcasting. So
It's pretty funny because there's a team, the Carolina Hurricanes, after they win each game, they have these crazy celebrations, and there's some people in the league that are, opposed to this, the no fun league, and then there's people that are all about this. The fact that they're having fun and the team is having fun. If the Devils asked you to help choreograph a winning celebration, would you be interested in doing that?
oh, it's interesting. Yeah, somebody. I'm willing to.
Either that, or what would be fun is if you did meet some of the players, you could teach them a few steps to have some interesting goal celebrations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Earl, are they treating you right afterwards? Are they keeping you okay with the because you're dancing? That's a big thing now. They keeping those feet okay and everything. They got you hooked up with some foot massages or something afterwards.
No,
No.
I usually keep my own. I take
Well,
care of my own.
now you can start making contract demands. I mean, you're a big star, Like now is the time to start asking for some stuff over here.
I'm good.
You're good with section 2 and 3.
Yes, I'm good with that.
That's a good man over there.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about this. It's funny that you said that because my father-in-law is an ex-podiatrist, so he used to be a foot doctor. If you ever need any advice about feet, I'll send him your direction.
What are you? Whoa! What are you talking about? December 27th. We're gonna.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. We could get him to examine your foot or something like that before the dance off to make sure everybody's okay.
He'll examine my feet and notice that I have 2 left feet. So.
Oh, ba-doom, psh.
Even though I got a podiatrist already. But
Okay.
Hey, Earl, when this dance off happens, you versus Scott, I want to make sure that you don't hold back. I want you to wipe the floor with Scott with the best dance moves that you can possibly come up with. Playoff material. I want the playoff material just so you can wipe the floor with them.
okay, I'll do my best.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have to call an Uber because I'm gonna have to have a few drinks in me before I can even attempt to do this. Now, Earl, it's kind of a shame that our other part of this podcast isn't here, Shorts Guy. But have you ever thought of like doing merchandise, like making Dancing Earl shirts or stuff like that?
No, I really haven't thought about that. No, I haven't
Earl,
really thought about that. I've been told that I could do something on Facebook because since I'm well known. Actually, it's just a thought. You know, I really haven't thought about putting it into use. You know, I'm just
Hashtag
right now,
Dancing Earl.
yeah, I'm just having fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And thank you so much for joining us too. This has been such a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure also.
Thank you very much, Earl, and thank you for everything that you do down at the Rock. You know, no one needs to go as above and beyond as you do, and you know, you do that, and we just want to say, you know, how much we appreciate it, and thank you for making our experience unique when we go down there to see our boys play.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And look forward to that dance off.
Oh,
Okay. I got
I don't know what I got myself into. That's one of those things where you're like, I can throw a baseball harder than you, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, Roger Clemens walks in the room, and you're like, oh, damn it, what have I done? We had a question.
That was great.
Asking about the 27th. Sam, would you like to give more information about the 27th and the live event that we're going to be having?
Yes, we are going to be having a live event at Tavern on the Rocks, 9 Wall Street, Rockaway, New Jersey, for a pre-game live podcast viewing party. We haven't booked the guest yet, but we're working on it. But we already booked Dancing Earl. He already says he's going to come for a dance off. We already have a podiatrist on duty at the bar to make sure that these feet are all checked up before this dance off. And it's going to be an amazing event. We were actually going to announce that next week. And do you know who's going to be on next week? It's going to be Arlette.
There you go.
Releasing her new Christmas album December 1st.
Ooh.
We have the first exclusive interview December 2nd. That's right. Here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. And there may be a special treat where we may send the studio over to Arlette to sing some of her songs on the Christmas album. Now, how many podcasts do that? Not many. Not many at all. How many podcasts have a lot of comments like we do? Not many.
Yeah, how many podcasts are with 3 handsome gentlemen? You know?
How many podcasts has more followers? No, I'm sorry. How many podcasts has more people on their podcast than followers on Twitch? Only this podcast.
This podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, I tell you, I'm looking forward to the live event over at the Tavern on the Rocks. One of my favorite things about that fine establishment is not only are the friendly people there, you know, not just my father-in-law, who, if you show him your foot, he will give you a free examination with the purchase of a Bud Light. So if you purchase a Bud Light, Jeff will take a look at your feet and let you know if that corn is a corn or if it's an infection. He's also one of the nicest people that you've ever met. If he calls you a name, if he refers to you as well, I can't say on air, but if he says something that sounds negative, just be sure that means he really, really likes you. Don't forget, rub his head for good luck and give him a big smooch on a cheek because he loves that kind of stuff. And their waffle fries, by the way, are incredible. And
are there bacon on that waffle on those waffle fries?
No, dude. The waffle fries, what they do is they.
I saw real pain in your face there for a second. No, they need the bacon, bro.
But when you bring it up to him, I'll say, you know what you need to do with these waffle fries of yours? No, last time we had a live event there, it was awesome. We had a really good turnout. We packed the place. We had Grant Marshall there. It was a lot of fun. This time, you know, we might have some. We're gonna have a dance off. It's gonna be intense. I mean, I'm going to probably, you know, blow out my ACL.
You're probably gonna lose. You're gonna lose is what you're gonna do.
Man. I'm definitely gonna lose. Are you kidding me?
Like, you gotta come up with something better than Running Man. Come on, dude. Come on.
Listen, I'm not the type of guy that's like, yo, I will dance.
You could do that little kid dance thing that they do, you know, like where they like do that with their arms and whatever the hell.
My students don't do. They do it all the time. It drives me crazy, right? Whatever.
So there you go. Have them teach you. Have them teach you.
So now I'm gonna have to have them teach me. I'm gonna be like, all right, even though I tell you guys, you know, now I got to know how to do the whatever this is. I'll bust out the robot. You know what I mean? Like I gotta
the robot. Wow.
I'm gonna have to Uber
keeping it contemporary.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to do that sober. I'll put it that way.
There's no way you're gonna be able to do that not sober. Go ahead and try and dance not sober. Yeah, let's see how that goes.
Beer
Going to a wedding.
Beer Baron.
I don't want to dance, but now I will.
You know, I drive past your house pretty much every day to go back to my house.
And you've never seen me dancing in the window. I guarantee that.
But you're taking an Uber when I could just easily take you home, bud.
Oh, that's a great point. Yes, yeah, there you go. There's my Uber, Sam Wu.
Yeah, but that's all. That's only if you win the dance off. Then I'll take you home. If you don't, then you have to take an Uber.
If you lose, which is most likely, then no ride home for you, buddy. Yeah. You're walking. You're walking.
I'll do the old hitchhiking.
All right, so, Gary, we would like to see you at that event. I know that you're still hanging in there, but also, in all seriousness about Earl, he's pretty much a lifelong Newark resident. And remember all the crap 15 years ago? Oh, it'll never work with the Devils fans and the people in Newark. That is complete BS. And I think Earl is the epitome of how wrong the pundits were. We love Earl. The feeling is back. There's going to be a dance-off, a friendly dance-off, out of this. So the point I'm trying to make really is don't listen to the media. Don't listen to what they're saying about our Devils right now. Don't listen to all that noise. And just remember one thing we said last season. We're ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I think we were ahead of schedule last season, but right now, I still think we're 2 years away of being that dominant team. And these are the growing pains.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You're 100% right. This crop of free agents that are coming out next season, there's a lot of people in there that could bolster this team. We talked about the likes of Jordan Eberle, who he'd be playing with his best buddy, Taylor Hall. If the Devils, listen, boys and girls, let me just break it down for you real quick. Right? I'm gonna break
boys and girls. Wow.
Boys and girls.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages.
Thanks, Teach.
You're welcome. So,
do they play Hot for Teacher for you, by the way, when you come into the classroom?
No. They started playing it, and I walked through the door. They'd be like, "God damn it, wrong person." But if your team is tanking, if your team is having a terrible season, there's one silver lining to this. We talked to a few people about this. Jack Hughes is the real deal. If the Devils end up getting the first overall pick because they have a terrible season, it sucks. Listen, I as much as anybody will sit here and moan and groan and gripe about how terrible a season is to myself because I don't like to broadcast that out. But if you suffer through it, there's always a Nico Hischier at the end of it. So at the end of this, if this season spirals out of control and they have a terrible season, you can start to rebuild through the free agency, and then if you get lucky enough to get one of those top 3 picks, you got Jack Hughes and you got 2 other kids, and I can't remember their names off the top of my head, that are legitimate NHL prospects, and they are supposed to be like just can't miss studs. So there's always that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be that bad, though. I think like Sam was saying, that we were ahead of schedule last year, and this year is probably how the team should have looked. Like, we overachieved last year. Taylor Hall had an MVP season, and we rode that into the playoffs. But when we got there, we got taught a quick lesson by Tampa Bay that we weren't ready yet. And I just don't think we're going to be that bad. I think there's going to be points where we string together a bunch of wins. This week as well, we were talking about some of the other people with Johansson and Zaka and, Boyle, but, Yakovlev looked pretty decent.
He looked pretty good.
It's nice that, even if he doesn't pan out. It's nice to see these prospects play. Get him into the lineup. I was a little confused. I missed the pregame this for tonight. I don't know why. If Mueller was just a healthy scratch
healthy scratch, and it's mainly because of some of the mistakes and mental lapses that he's had. But overall, his game isn't that terrible. But when you put it into a situation where he's playing top D minutes, he's going to get exposed. You know what I mean? He's not a top defenseman. But
it's the one thing I disagree with. Really, is that like for me, we were just talking. Well, we were talking before about Cory, love him, great goalie, but, we don't see him as the future goaltender of the Devils. Like, I don't see someone like, Lovejoy, Ben, love him, he blocks pucks with his face, sometimes on the penalty kill, but I don't see him as a future long-term defensive core. I'd rather see him rotate in and out instead of being there every single game. Like, unless, I don't know, unless Mueller needed a maintenance day or something like that, we're not privy to those things behind the scenes, which could very possibly be. But just through the season, it seems that, and again, this is nothing against Ben or anything like that. This is just my own personal perspective. I'd rather see, since we are still rebuilding, and I don't think we're going to make a huge, deep playoff run this year. I think we're a cusp team, a borderline team that may get in on one of those lower seeds, and we may just miss. Like we were pretty close to missing last year. It was a tight race that we snuck in.
And the way that it works out. Go ahead.
No.
No, the way that it works out, it's not like the old NHL where if you tanked, you were for sure going to get that number 1 overall pick. You're not even guaranteed. Right. You remember the Colorado Avalanche when we got Nico. The Colorado was a terrible, terrible team. We should have been, the Devils, I think, should have been picking 11th, if I remember correctly, or something around that area. And then I think
it was 8th or something in there that we were able to move up that far. It
was Philadelphia had 11, and they moved it up to 2. Regardless, the Devils are in a position where, if they're going to be bad, at least you want to see effort every night. You want to make sure that they're doing what they have to do. It's something that I love about this team is, as inconsistent as they are, there is so much bright future, Yes. And by the way, I have to pause real quick. I have to give a big shout out to my mother-in-law, who's like one of our biggest fans. Isn't this so fun? Like, I have my father-in-law and my mother-in-law who are like constantly watching and a big support. I have to thank them.
Are they judging you, Scott? Are they judging you?
No. Funny because they'll tell me like, "Oh, you weren't yourself tonight," or "You weren't really that funny," or I'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'll work on that." So they keep it real, they keep me grounded. But anyways,
actually, real quick, speaking of family, I'll give a shout to my my nephews who I've picked up golf out here in California, and they just sent me this. They're doing like that elf Christmas thing where like they send you like some little gifts. So they sent me this. Cool. Because I got to like golf swing because I picked my elbow up because I used to play baseball, So they said I got to put like a towel under my arm. Yeah, dude, I'm working on it. I can hit like my 9-iron straight, like
dude. The 7 is your best friend.
Former hockey player too, like baseball and hockey players are always great golfers. I am terrible, dude, terrible. I just slice all the time. Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. Yay to family members, though. Thank you for everything.
Yes. But honestly, like, I feel like this team, we said before, you were kind of like, oh, chalk it up to this or chalk it up to that. And it's like, you're getting to a point now where these losses are going to be piling up. And it's going to be like, if they don't start getting winning streaks together and pulling off, 2-3 games in a row, the season's going to get away from them pretty quickly. Then you're going to approach the trade deadline. And then it's going to be like, all right, if we're not going to be able to make a move to make the team better because we're not going in that direction, then what the hell are we going to do? And then you start to look at who you have and what assets you have that you're willing to trade. And as Shorts Guy likes to say all the time, we saw with Henrique that anybody is expendable. So
yes,
you look at players like Miles Wood. I love Miles Wood. I hope he stays with, throughout his contract and he gets an extension and blah, 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 blah. But you look at a player like Miles Wood, you look at some of these other guys, even Coleman, and I hate to say it because Coleman's like he is what I feel like is the epitome of a devil. He reminds me of John Madden and just like that kind of ilk of a player where he's gritty, like he's not going to score a pretty goal. Actually, Coleman, that backhand,
Madden Pandolfo.
one-handed backhand goal that he had last year was pretty sweet. But overall,
hey, Johnny Mad was the king of shorthanded goals there, man, on those breakaways.
He had some silky mitts.
He did.
But yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys that they could possibly be moving. Ben Lovejoy.
Yeah,
it just depends. It's weird because right now you're in the season's in a flux, right? Can they right the ship? Can they start to pull a couple wins together and get everything right and going in the right direction? Or is it going to start to be like, all right, now we look forward to the trade deadline. What are we going to get back?
I think that we're going to stay at like a 500 team. I really do right now. I just don't think we're consistent enough. It shows with, we were talking about Zaka, coming around, scoring some goals and putting up some points and stuff. We need to start seeing these guys be consistent with that. And then, we'll be more than a 500 team. Right now, we're just basically relying on that top line for a lot of stuff. And we've been lucky with the amount of goals that Brian Boyle, Travis Zajac, and Coleman have put home already. Hell, even JSD had like 4 or 5, I think, right? That's not something you should be relying on. That's why we want Johansson and, getting Bratt back. I will say this, I wasn't huge on Bratt last year, but him and Nico both look bigger, like physically. You can see they're not getting like pushed off the puck as much. And to tell you the truth, I was actually very impressed. I saw Nico and Jesper together on a line for a little bit, and it created a nice little buzz there. I thought, last
year they were on the same line a lot, and then Jesper just couldn't keep up with that. With the pace of the game last year,
halfway through the season last year. Yeah, he was too small, but he looks a lot bigger now, and both of those dudes are still growing. Like, they're so young, they're still growing, and they're going to get bigger. I feel much better about the potential of Jesper Bratt this year. Now seeing him, back on the ice now and returning, and you can see the creativity, Yeah.
And I mean, like, I got to tell you, Mikey McLeod putting up some numbers down in the old bingo. And I was stealing the thunder of Sam because Sam he texted me earlier. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to see that," and I said, "Oh, I'm going to use that too." But I'm very hopeful for this kid, and from what I hear, his physical side of the game is starting to pick up. He's one of those dudes that he's big, strong, and if his game gets right, he could be an impact player to the Devils. Where great, you can bring him in, and then you don't have to bring somebody via trade or something else. And I tell you one thing, I feel so bad for Joey Anderson running into the post, running into the goal, tried to skate it off a little bit and then went off the ice. And when everything that sounds is a pretty serious injury. So, hopefully he's all right. And hopefully it's not something too serious that it's going to derail his season, because that kid, I felt like, was starting to get his legs under him and get comfortable at the NHL level. Just like Cini, you see Cini kind of looks like he's getting his legs under him and starting to get comfortable. He had an assist tonight. So there's a lot of guys to be hopeful for. There's a lot of guys that are like, that bring you hope to the season.
Well, we talked about it when I was on a few weeks ago that, the Devils may be lacking in some depth, but they do have depth at the, the minor leagues and prospects level. These, kids that are coming up. Like McLeod, like Ty Smith, guys that are going to be, I can't even pronounce the one guy's is like Yoctane Chain. I can't even pronounce his name. I swear. I can't remember. It's like something with a J. I'll need Cangelosi to pronounce on one time on air before I can never get it right.
Malquist? Are you talking about him?
I was like Yoctane or something. I can't remember, dude. But we have a bunch of prospects. We've drafted, from what the reviews that you can read and the analysis that we've been drafting pretty well, and we should have these guys coming through our system. That's why when Sam was saying before that we're like 2 years away, that's an accurate description. We are about 2 years away, and we're going to be a completely different team and a force to be reckoned with, in about 2 years from now, when we get some of these other prospects up along with the guys that we have now. I mean, just think about it too. Like, this is a thing, we talked about, when we traded Adam Larson for Taylor Hall, straight up, everyone around the league was like, "You guys stole him. Blah, 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 And every Devil fan would tell you how good Adam Larson was and how awesome what a rock he was on the blue line. And you know what the great thing about Larson was is because he was an 18-year-old rookie like Nico. You cannot buy that type of experience. Like Nico is going to be 23 years old and have 5 years experience in the league. Like that's going to be insane for him. Like being able to skate and create and just make magic on the ice, which I think he's going to be one of those players that can do that.
So I want to address, before I see Sam pop up, which usually means we're winding down, I do want to address a few of the questions that we had on Facebook.
Let's get to them. I didn't even know we had any. What's up?
Yeah,
Facebook?
yeah. Sorry, sometimes we get like caught up in a conversation.
Jake said, I had trivia. I had some Devils trivia for you. We'll see if we can get to it. Go ahead. Let's do the Facebook questions.
So Jake said, here's the name that if he walks is Wayne Simmons. Wayne Simmons is one of those dudes that I like him, but I don't know if he would fit the mold of what the Devils are trying to do. What is our available cap space? We have a ton of money on our cap space. We have a lot of money floating out there. 16, I think, is the number. You might want to double check that. Gary said he likes Yakovlev. Let's see. And they can't call up. Yeah, they can't call up Ty Smith until I think the end of the season, or until his. Yeah, they can't call him up until his junior year is over. So once the junior season ends, then I think he can call him up. So
I wasn't even able to come up at all this year. I thought that was the thing about sending him down, because I know they were thinking about keeping him up for like those, like 8 or 9 games, and then they were just like, we'll send him down to the.
Just like they did with Zaka the year that they drafted him. He wasn't able to come up until like after his season ended, and if you remember, he was out. He was out there with Eliash the last game that Eliash played, which was really cool.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Strudnik is so Tom on the Facebook group said, I could see this is another dude I can't pronounce his name. Studnik. Strudnik,
slaughter last names all the time here.
He does look pretty legit. Yeah.
Tom S.
Mark Stone and Panarin. Panarin apparently wants to be a Ranger.
Blech.
And he's gonna want a ton of money. And by the way, guys, Jake, Rob, Tom, Eric, all you guys, thank you so much for for tuning in and for asking all these questions.
Yeah, getting your voice out on the old podcast here.
Yeah, Eric said Devils need to shut down Big Force on the blue line. Someone with some great size and no nonsense. You know who's that? Steven Santini. If Santini can get back and healthy, which by the way, he's coming to the beginning of the season. Yeah, he's going to be in Florida tomorrow. So they took him out of his conditioning assignment from Binghamton. They put him back on IR. There'll probably be some kind of move or shuffling of players tonight. Maybe he's ready to go. But he's a kid that he showed some grit. The Devils need to address their defensive core. I mean, there's a lot of issues there that Sammy Vatanen putting up like 30 minutes a game, it feels like.
He's a workhorse.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that they need to do. A lot of people are starting to say, like, would the Devils be willing to trade? Our friends from Pucks and Pitchforks said, would the Devils be willing to trade Ty Smith to get William Nylander? And I said, I don't think so. I wouldn't do it.
No.
It's a proven commodity versus an unproven commodity, but that unproven commodity is a defenseman, and that kid looks like an absolute stud what he's doing down in the juniors.
Wait a little bit. Yeah, I'd wait a little bit on that, because even if you do end up trading him, like at the end of this year, because he's been producing, like his stock is just going to go up. Yeah, thank you for that. But I personally, I would just hang on to him for a little while, like, because his stock is rising. If his stock was like crashing, then maybe you try to like cut bait.
Yeah, but that's the problem is you always have to sell high. You can never sell. You can never sell somebody like everybody that's like, trade off Cory Schneider and get whatever you can get. You're not going to get jack for him right now. And if you try to sell him off, no one's going to come knocking at the door. Keith Kincaid, on the other hand, you would be able to get something back, maybe a 3. Or a decent prospect, but
if you trade him to the Islanders, where Lou is, he'll probably, we can get a bunch.
We can see him blank us when we go up there. That again, and he pitched a shutout. All right. Now he's going to emoji us to death. Damn it. I used to think it was cool until now he's on another team.
Do you guys want some trivia? Some real fast trivia?
Sure.
All right. So speaking of, because it was Thanksgiving weekend, and the last time I was on, we were doing the Marty Brodeur thank you. I thought it'd be nice to spend some thanks to some guys that probably don't get a lot of thank yous in the world of Devils, and that is the backup goalies. Okay. All right. So I want to know, can you guys guess this goalie? You ready? I'm going to give you a couple hints. You can take a couple guesses.
Okay.
I played for 2 seasons, really like 1.5, but it's counted as 2 seasons for the New Jersey Devils. In that time, I only played in 9 games and had a record of 6-3.
Kevin Weeks.
Incorrect.
Peter Sidorkiewicz.
Incorrect. I will give you some more hints now.
Okay.
6-3 record, 9 games, 2 seasons. He is one of the few people to play not only for the Devils, but for the Islanders, the Flyers, and the Rangers. Very good. There you go.
Yeah,
John Brooke.
My friend who's a diehard Ranger fan who
only started 9 games for the Devils, 6-3 record. That was during those Marty years.
And Jake in the Facebook group got that right too, by the way.
Did you? Very nice, Jake.
John Van Beesbrook. See, Tom said Danny, that was good.
Yeah.
Van Beesbrook, yeah, dude, Beezer, man, he was one of those goals. Right? Matt, we lost to the Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado that year. He never won with the Rangers, and then they got to the finals with Florida, but they didn't win.
Yep, he got to the finals with. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, that was one of those dudes that he was like the Dan Marino of goaltenders. Like he was he's one of the winningest U.S. goaltenders of all time, if not the winningest goaltender, U.S. goaltender of all time.
Did he have a deal with Toner gloves as well? And was he in any sort of thing with Jim Carrey?
Hey, I remember as a kid getting a Jim Carrey rookie card, right? And I held on to it forever because I was like, this guy's going to be a good goalie, and he's named Jim Carrey. What a hoot! So nothing ever.
Hey, Isotoners, Dan Marino, but that's all right. You missed the reference there, buddy.
I got what you're saying. I just took it in a different direction.
Oh, okay. Crashed and burned on that one, I guess.
Wait a second. So Jake just said the Hawks acquired Dylan Strome for Nick Schmaltz. So does that mean Dylan Strome went from what got traded to the Rangers? Or wait, what? I'm so confused. Did he get whatever? I think he just got traded is what I'm trying to get to. He got traded to Edmonton, I believe, from Jake. Help me out here, dude. I'm freaking swimming in my own vomit right now. He got traded from the Islanders to Edmonton, and then I guess he just got traded again. If I'm correct. I don't know. Jake, come on.
Come on, Jake.
Save me.
Bring it to us. Give us the info.
Dylan was in Arizona. Okay, so
from Predator. Dylan.
Come on, Dylan.
Come on, Dylan, do it. Do it now.
Come on. You see what's happening when it's 11 o'clock?
Come on, Devils. Just score the goal. No, but you know what? Speaking of, though, all the things we were wrapping up, though, Yakovlev does look good. Severson, except tonight, did not look good. But overall, I've been seeing him chip in on the offensive side a little bit more, which I thought, was a bit of improved play. And TH9, baby, starting to heat up, except for tonight where everyone looked terrible. I see TH9 starting to put that puck in the net, which I really like. He was sitting down there with 2 or 3 goals for a while, but now all of a sudden things are starting to, click a little bit better for him. And once he gets going, you're going to see this team also pick up a little bit more.
Indeed.
I hear the music.
You do? I don't. I hear my inner thoughts.
I hear music in the background. Does that mean the show is coming to a close? And I see Sam on my screen over here, which usually means something is going on.
Yeah, literally didn't move. 2 minutes. He's saying 2.
Okay.
By the way, for anybody that's still watching or listening, we are into what you call overtime because we were supposed to be ending a lot sooner. But it is one of my favorite people in the entire world is Scotty. Buddy, I have to tell you, honestly, you coming onto this has been one of my favorite things. Talking hockey, you and I going all these different games and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've been to many games.
Many games.
We were interviewed. You remember we were interviewed for Fox Sports back at the Ducks Devils Stanley Cup. That was when I just came back from Australia. Actually, yeah, we were there. We were like, Jiggy, who? What? Yeah. What?
No, remember the dumb question that they're trying to ask us? They're like, "Are you guys afraid of a duck?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? You clearly don't watch or cover hockey at all." Am I afraid of a duck?
Yeah, right. Oh man. Yeah, no, this has been a blast, man. And you know me, I love this team for like my whole life, and I'm an avid follower, and I try not to be too like preachy about my opinions on the team or anything like that, and try to look at the bigger picture. You know, hey, every fan wants to get their voice out there. But it was really an awesome time, like getting to come on here and talk some Devils hockey and just you know. Watching the team and analyzing, and I love this stuff. You know, like I love this team. It's been a huge part of my life, as you know, going to games since I was like 9 years old. You know, so I thank you and Sam for letting me come on here and do this.
Well, you're coming on next week, right? Or no?
Well, I didn't want to give it away. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Well, we have Arlette next week. Is that December 2nd? Yeah, it's December 2nd. Yep. We'll be back December 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern. Arlette, live from her home studio, somewhere somewhere around the world. What's up?
I'm so sorry. I just saw this. The Kings lost again to a team that was currently riding an 8-game losing streak. Devils fans, it could be worse. We could be Kings fans, even though they beat us in a couple years ago. Their team is just falling apart at the seams. Yeah. Hey, he's doing over
there. I don't know.
He's doing pretty well statistically, but he's playing third line. It's really weird. Maybe he's probably I don't know.
He ruined my beautiful throwback jersey that I have. I got that stupid 17 on the back of that jersey.
Dude, I got a Kobe. I was hoping that the Devils would keep on to Patrick Maroon. He'd be a mainstay for a couple of years because I could switch out the nameplate on my stupid Kovalchuk jersey.
Yeah, what was I going to get? Michael Ryder on there? I mean, that was nice for like a... Thanks,
Michael
Mike.
Ryder. Hurrah! Damn it. That's kind of like how it felt with him. You're like, you bum.
Yeah. What's going on here?
He's going to put up a... no, he's not going to do it.
No, he's not. Yeah. It was like that guy. You're like, I think he's gonna score. No, he's gonna just. He had a good moments though, but that second after that, was
dude, if I can't remember his moments, that's not good. I'm just saying.
I think he had something.
No offense to Michael Ryder, because I don't want to be walking around some. What?
Didn't he do something in the Yankee Stadium game? Which, by the way, you and I were both at. By the way,
yes. I remember
the game when it was like -10 with snow everywhere. Like
it was an awesome experience, but once they started losing, I just was like, "Well, I'm getting drunk." And then I remember waking up at home, and that was not a fun thing. So,
well, you had to stay warm because it was ridiculously cold that day. Yes. It was crazy, but it was still awesome, though. That was such an experience to see that live on the ice. Even though it was freezing, it was great that it was snowing at the same time, though. It just made it that much more kind of a special sort of thing, man. That was wild. I hope the Devils get another outdoor game sometime, dude.
Not while Bettman's commissioner.
Maybe Marty talked to him at the old Hall of Fame ceremonies. You know,
right,
something like that. No.
Zero chance.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to see it. Maybe Devils Flyers this time.
It'll be Blackhawks and Penguins.
Blackhawks and Penguins.
The same teams every year
at Fenway Park.
Honestly, truth be told, like, don't they realize like it's getting stale when you have the same teams? Like, it's cool when you introduce new teams to it. Like, I understand the original 6 concept and blah blah blah, but for real, like, what drives me crazy about these outdoor games is like you have these cool settings, and when it first was introduced, you're like, oh my god, like this looks amazing. It is like just pretty wild, like that Buffalo Pittsburgh game where it was snowing and Crosby scored in the shootout to end the game. Like, it was so wild, and then it's like same team, and it's like it's Pittsburgh and Ovechkin, and you're like, god damn it, nobody cares anymore. Like, as much as I love that rivalry, it's like, just change it up. Like, I would love to see like Minnesota and I don't know, some other team that play in that new Viking the new
it's outdoors.
The Twins game, the Twin Stadium, which is outdoors.
Stadium, the Target Field.
Yeah. Like Minnesota and who cares?
If I was playing Minnesota, I'd be like, make a dome. Make a dome.
Make a dome for a baseball team.
Go outside for baseball. Make a dome. My arm is gonna fall off pitching in this frozen weather. Make a dome.
But no, we get the same. It's like the New York Rangers and Philadelphia Flyers. We've seen it. Who cares?
I know. I want the
John
Devils
Tortorella
back.
is not like that. As much crap as John Tortorella gets, I know we're like way into overtime now, and we're like just going on tangents. But John Tortorella is one of the. If you get bored, just look up his clips on YouTube. It's hilarious. When he was on TSN for like a hot minute, and it was like the biggest dumpster fire ever. They'd be like, all right, we're going to play this game. Like, who do you think is going to get traded? And he would look at him and be like, that's stupid. I'm not doing it. You see the one broadcaster sitting next to him just going like, come on, just go with it, John. You don't have to be a
okay, moving along.
Yeah. There was like, they had this game they played like, we'll just call it Guess That Trade or whatever it is. And every time they'd be like, they'd bring him on a camera and he's like, we better not be doing that stupid Guess That Trade. But he was like dead serious about how much he loathed doing it.
Just looking with that pissed off look on his face, like
that. We got a boiled rat.
Yeah, right.
With all due respect, any of these people, I don't want to run into you. Hey, can you tell a story about how you told Darius Kasparaitis that he sucked and he almost beat you up? Wasn't that you?
What? No, that wasn't me.
Wasn't that you? I thought you were sitting in a bar and you said Kasparaitis sucks or something like that, and he turned around and he was like, I'm right here, and you're like, I'm just kidding.
No, that wasn't me. I probably would have got crushed by him, that's for sure. I was at the game where Darius Kasparaitis got his finger severed. You can look it up. You can Google this and look it up. Anyone on the Facebook page, you can Google this and look it up. They have NHL Tonight highlights of it. It was the game where Cory Schwab started in net for the Devils against the Islanders, and there was a scrum. Bill Guerin was on the team, and he was in the scrum with Kasparaitis, and I think it was Tommy Salo or Tommy Sundstrom or something like that. One like Swedish goalies, and he tried to skate out to like Guerin or something like that and pull him, and you just see Cory Schwab chucking down the ice, man. Throws his gloves, and then it's seriously like 21 unanswered shots to like the chin. Like the poor Tommy's just getting rocked over and over again. And, like, the
Tommy
NHL
Salo,
tonight, Tommy Salo. The NHL tonight, they have like the boxing thing, like cha-ching, 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 like just counting all the hits. Dude, I was at that game, and I will never forget that until, for the rest of my life. One of the funniest things ever. Speaking of backup goalies, there's another one right there, Cory Schwab.
There you go. In fact, when I thought that's what you were going to get into is Cory Schwab. So there was I was thinking about all the backup goalies that the Devils had in their illustrious during the Marty run, especially when he was starting in like 72 to 78 games. Being a backup behind Marty was probably like being a backup to like Brett Favre or to like Eli Manning, It's like you show up to work. You're like, hey guys, I'll warm you up during practice, but that's it. I'm done, man. Like I don't have to do anything. Like I would love to talk to one of those guys and just be like, get that perspective of like being his backup and knowing that you're probably not going to play in the game.
Well, I think John Van Wiesberg was probably the best example of that, being that he was only in 9 games, over that season and 3 quarters or whatever that he was with the Devils, and he was still 6-3 in those starts, but
Beezer was a solid goaltender.
Marty was playing. Well, I mean, that was at the end of his career there. I think the Devils were the last team he played for. If I'm not, I could be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty, unless maybe he went and was a backup somewhere else as well. But I think the Devils were the last team that he played for. But and I totally forgot that, because he was traded from the Islanders to the Devils. So he was with the Islanders for like a season, it was more like just like half a season. But he got all 4 of those teams in there, man. Rangers, Devils, Islanders, and Flyers. Because he had like those 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I think, in Philly after Florida.
This is driving me crazy because my phone is like not updating, and I apologize once again to everybody on Facebook, but I have to once again reach back into comment on some of these things. So Eric wrote, "Did you know that the original Kings uniform had a crown on the chest, but it was actually a queen's crown?" That's really funny. I used to love those uniforms, by the way. They're just like that purple and yellow ones were so sharp. But yeah, dude, that is. They need to stop using the same so many outdoor games for the original 6 same teams. Like it seems like everybody kind of agrees. Like George was saying, preach outdoor teams or like NBCSN coverage. It's the same teams. That's another thing too, dude. NBC, like their coverage is great and Doc is amazing and everybody does an amazing job.
Tell me.
I'm getting up on the podium and I'm going to start to preach. I'm going to start to pound the podium. But my beef with NBC is the only thing is like it feels like it's the same teams. And then when you look at the schedule, it's like if they had a better balance, so you get more of a coverage of like all these different teams and like, how often do we get to see Arizona, for example? How often do we get to see even Edmonton with Connor McDavid? You know what I mean? Like there needs to be more of a balanced schedule on a national broadcast. But my biggest beef with the NHL has always been the marketing of its teams and its players. Like it is so undermarketed, it is so poorly marketed, and anybody that disagrees with me, you're dead wrong. Because if you look at what the NBA does, and if you look at seriously, if you look at what the NBA does, dude, I don't like basketball whatsoever, and I can still name like over 30 different dudes on 30 different teams. You know what I mean? Like I can name all these different people because of how much we're exposed to it. You turn on ESPN and it's nothing but like, look at this slam dunk. It's the top 1 pick of the countdown. Well, it's like it's the same slam dunk that I've seen.
ESPN controls what they put out there. And if you watch that sort of stuff, then yeah, you're just going to get hit with whatever they want. They were not happy when the NHL went to, what was it? The Versus, the Outdoor Network or whatever it was, Versus. ESPN used to be a huge proponent of the NHL. It used to have Wednesday night, Friday night NHL. They had NHL Tonight was one of the original
NHL Tonight
sports
one of my favorite.
Yeah, it was one of the original sports centric, shows. Yeah, back then, so they used to do a lot of stuff, and then once the NHL broke that contract with them, it was almost like, like spiteful, like we're just not going to report on it, and we're going to just double up on NBA because now we signed this contract with them, which, that's their decision. That's business, like you can't do anything about that. But
I understand that. I mean, it's just, to me, it's always been, and people blame Gary Bettman, but Gary Bettman has also done a lot of great things for the sport. And like we were talking about the last time you were on, is how he is like the greatest heel of all time. And now like we'll go like this to like get people to boo. So I thoroughly enjoy it.
But he's also screwed a lot of things up too. Don't forget, there's been 30 lockouts under his reign, and
100% an entire season locked out.
Besides the whole ESPN thing, blah blah blah, they could have got by that. But I really think it's the lockouts that really doomed them. And the fact that it just kept happening over and over again, it was just like, whatever, hockey's not here anymore, like they're doing it again, and that's in my mind, that was huge for the popularity of the sport. And, I mean, what's there to report on if they're not playing? You know what I mean?
It's true. And then like this whole thing with the Olympics, first of all, you gave Russia that gold medal because they were still playing with Pavel Datsyuk and Ilya Kovalchuk and, basically NHLers. And we're deep into overtime. No, it's all right. But I mean, like, letting the I understand it from both sides. Like, you don't want your players getting hurt playing in the Olympics because then it hurts the NHL and it hurts the game. But at the same time, the marketing aspect of it, of letting your best players play for their countries and how much pride they have in playing for their countries and how it spreads the word of the NHL throughout the entire world. It's the biggest platform, and it happens once every 4 years. It's like, it doesn't make a lick of sense to me that they don't do it.
We could use our own team as an example. When Zach Parise and Jamie Langenbrunner were on the U.S. team and Zach scored that goal to tie up the game against Canada, they ended up losing, but when Zach scored that goal, man, that was crazy.
That was insane.
It's crazy. And I remember talking to people, by the way, if no one knows, I work for SiriusXM, Liquid Metal. You can check me out every Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, corridor of covers, replays, on demand, all that good stuff. But, around the studios, I would talk to the sports dudes who, they're always like, basketball, football. And when that happened, I remember, I won't say any of the actual guys' names, but they were like, I'm actually going to go and start watching hockey now because that was a lot of fun watching that stuff. So showcasing your talent. I mean, Jamie was like Captain America there, like.
Yeah. Dude, and honestly, the speed of the game, the ferocity of the game, everything about it, as a fan, like, I love bringing people to a game and that's never seen hockey live before, because their mind gets blown especially, like, it doesn't matter where you sit. You could sit up high or down low, but if you sit down low, you really get that feel of the speed of when these guys go flying past you. But I mean, when you bring somebody
what a great view, like at the Prudential Center, how many times have we just bought out the last row, the very back row of the top section? We can all just stand and not have to worry about anyone being behind us. But that overall view of the game and watching the plays develop and everything like that, it's awesome. And it's great for bringing someone like who has never seen a game before. Sit in the farthest row back over there, like try to sit at center ice, and you could really see everything like develop. You see Taylor Hall just like sneaking around and getting open out on the wings and stuff like that. And now he circles and, grinding and doing the cycles in the corners. You really see that sort of stuff work. So that's
one of Dylan Larkin's first games at the Rock. I was at that game, and I remember talking to somebody because I love to watch tape on like prospects and all these different kids and like a lot of the development and stuff like that. That's why I'm like super jacked. If the Devils suck, like, let's please get Jack Hughes, because it will put us. Look at what Darlene, what is his name? The defenseman that they just got up in Buffalo. How much of an impact that kid has had on that team. Dude, Buffalo's insane right now. They're awesome right now, but they should be, because they have so much talent up there. Like Jack Eichel is a stud. But all that being said, whatever, like, we were sitting at the top and I was with somebody that's never been to a game before. And I said, watch this kid Larkin, watch how fast he is. And he was just zipping around in the back and like cut in, took a puck. It sucked because he scored against us, but he came in like all alone and just put on this nifty little move and scored. And I look over at my friend and he's just like shell shocked. And I'm like, don't become a Red Wing fan because of that. But that was insane. Like, that was just nasty. But that's just you will, if you've never watched hockey before, go to a game, you will fall in love with it. I'm preaching to people that all obviously watch hockey if they're listening to this, but find a friend. This is what I challenge anybody on Facebook or Periscope or anywhere. Find a friend that doesn't give a crap about hockey.
On Twitch.
Or on Twitch. Find a friend that doesn't give a crap about hockey. If somebody's like, oh, like, it's so stupid, like, oh, you're on ice. Bring them to a game and see if their mind is completely changed by the end of the game. Especially if the Devils win, and it's like a crazy environment.
Definitely. I highly recommend it as well. Well, before we get out of here, we don't want to forget to tell everybody that next week, once again, Arlette, you have probably heard her sing the national anthem. Well, if you're listening to this podcast before every podcast, but also at the games as well. She's been a longtime member of the Devils family, and now she's got a little Christmas album coming out. We're going to have a special performance by her from her very own home studios next week. It's a nice little holiday treat for all the Devils fans out there that know and love Arlette and have heard her sing many, many times. Now you get to hear a couple other tunes as well, you know?
Yeah. Dude, we had her on last year, and she's one of the nicest people in the world. So I'm really looking forward to it. But, dude, Scotty, thanks for hanging out.
Whoa, before we also go, don't forget, 12/27, the Beer Baron over here is going to get it handed to him by Dancing Earl at the live event. Scott, where is this live event going to be happening again?
This is going to be at the beautiful establishment of Tavern on the Rocks in Rockaway, New Jersey. 9
and if
Wall
you have
Street.
any foot problems whatsoever, you can also bring them along with you to the podcast table.
Jeff.
This is correct, right?
Yes. You show him your feet with the purchase of a Bud Light, and he will take a look at your feet.
And then you can watch Dancing Earl literally mop the floor with Scott dancing. Pretty much. Yes. Because Scott is planning on getting drunk for this. Now, if any way you know, dancing takes some sort of, coordination. And a lot of times when you start drinking, coordination goes away. So it might be a lot of fun if you want to go down and watch uncoordinated Scott when he's sober try to dance while he's drunk.
Yes, that sounds right.
Well, buddy, I've had an amazing time, and I can't wait to do this again with you. And I can't wait for another week of Devils hockey, so we have some more stuff to talk about, some new stuff. See how the team plays. We've reached that, we've reached that quarter point of the season. And we're a 500 team. Are we gonna take it up a notch? Is the team gonna kick it into gear, or are we gonna stay at this level? Are we going to start seeing some trades develop and talk about, or are we going to be buyers again? Last year, the Grabner deal obviously didn't work out to the best,
about that.
Maroon I loved, but obviously he didn't stick with us in the off season. But let's see where this next, 20 games takes us. Where is the team going to go? Are we going to have a bunch of washaways like we did with Tampa? Or are we going to have a bunch of, like I said, we had a bunch of tough losses this week, but we played really well. And we were in all those games, and we could have won all those games as well, besides the Tampa game tonight.
Yeah, and, tomorrow night they play again. I will be at the Rock on December 3rd. If you catch me walking around, say what's up.
What section are you going to be in, Superstar?
I don't know.
You don't know? Can we find it and post it everywhere so everyone can come and challenge you to dance competitions, and they can also, destroy you as well?
Man. I'm going to bring fake crutches and a walking boot. Oh, man, I can't dance. But go challenge Earl. He'll
a hammy, eh? Oh,
yeah, right.
Whoa.
Oh, man. I don't know, eh?
Well, I got to drink a Molson over
ticker,
here.
Hammy, eh? Yeah, by the way, if anybody's never seen The Great White North, go rent that on wherever you can rent that. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Here.
If you tell me if you've never seen it, I will jump through the screen and kick you in the face.
What, the what's their name brothers from SCTV and everything?
McKenzie brothers.
Yeah, McKenzie brothers.
I found a mouse in a bottle of your beer.
Yeah.
Elsinore beer. By the way, if I won that gigantic Mega Millions jackpot, the couple billion, I was going to start a brewery and call it Elsinore Brewing.
Oh, look at you!
Nice.
Any copyright on that one?
I'm sure I have a couple $1 billion under my belt. I'm sure I could work a way around it. Just
you got that type of money, you got to find things.
I just start throwing around.
Yeah,
all right, dude. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. Huh.